We are doing another continuation lesson on the perfect tense. Remember, the perfect tense, they are the ED with the auxiliary verb. And then we have our irregular verbs with our participles. The word that I chose today is in the simple tense, it's right. Now, right is your base word, okay? It's your base word. We have for the simple past is wrote, and for the past participle is written, and this will always be in the perfect tense. So the simple tense will be in the present. Let's go into our past tense. I mixed them up again, and look what I've done. Now we did the progressive, simple, and the perfect. So before I mixed these up, now I'm mixing these up so that we can learn them, we can get them down. I want to, after all of this, I want you guys to be able to write them out yourselves. Completely, all by yourself. You can just write them out. If I give you a word, you can do it. We are in the progressive. What are we, singular or plural? So we're going to go in the singular, and we're focusing on past tense right here. And the past tense can be really confusing when it comes to your irregular verbs. The simple tense is really easy, but the past tense can be confusing. Now, for the progressive, since we are sitting in the past tense, we have to focus on the correct verb. This is singular, so it takes the singular past tense verb. And then we use our base word in the simple tense and add the ing onto this. So I was writing a letter. So we're focusing on first, second, and third person. I was writing a letter. Now, second person, you go to you were writing a letter, and third person, it switches to Paul was writing a letter. So was and was in the progressive tense. You're adding your auxiliary verb, and then were for singular. Now, look at the simple tense. Simple past. You need to remember, this is simple past. So now what do? It's singular, but we do not use an auxiliary verb with this. So we just say, I wrote a letter. You wrote a letter. Paul wrote a letter. It's simple and easy. But you have to use, since you're in the past tense, you have to use the simple past. Now for the perfect, what do you use for the perfect?
You need an auxiliary verb.
Yes, exactly. So now we're sitting in the past tense, so that takes the past tense verb. And you say, I had written a letter, you had written a letter, Paul had written a letter. But see how these do not change in the past? This will change in second person, but it doesn't change very much. They're all the same. But look, future tense will be very similar. It's pretty basic and easy. Now, if we look at the progressive tense, we need to use the will be when we are in the progressive future tense. I will be writing a letter. Now you're taking writing. We have our simple tense base word of write, and we just add our ing onto it to get the progressive. But for the future tense, you have to do will be for progressive. I will be writing a letter. You will be writing a letter. Paul will be writing a letter. Doesn't change. Simple tense. We're just going to use the auxiliary verb will. I will write a letter. You're going to use your simple tense verb. Doesn't change. It's just right there. I will write a letter. For the future tense, you will write a letter. Paul will write a letter. But now we're in the perfect. That means if you are in the perfect, you are going to use the past participle. This, and you have to have an auxiliary verb. So singular, singular. Okay, you have to use the word have. I will have written a letter. You will have written a letter. Paul will have written a letter. So it's sitting in the future perfect. Now, present. Isn't the present where there's a lot of confusion? There is. We have present that causes confusion. So we have a lot of confusion in the perfect tense when it's singular. So we have, I am writing a letter. It's progressive. You are using the simple tense verb right here, and you're dropping the E and adding your ing right to there. But you have to have your auxiliary verb am. I am writing a letter. Then this one is you are writing a letter. And in third person, we switch to is. Paul is writing a letter. First person is am, third person is when it's in the progressive tense. First person is am, third person is. That's what you have to use when you are in the present tense. Now simple is I write a letter. Boom. That's the simple tense. I write a letter. You write a letter. Paul writes a letter. Now look what happened here. This conjugated, and we're making it sound better by adding the S on there. He writes a letter. Now the perfect tense, we're going to go back over here, and you have to use this plus the correct auxiliary verb. So since we are sitting in the present tense perfect, you have to use the correct auxiliary verb. And here it's first person, singular, so that means we have to use the verb have. I have written a letter. You have written a letter. Now look what happens here. In third person, Paul has written a letter. We do not say Paul have written a letter. It switches to has. This is singular, but have has to be in first person and has needs to be in third person when it's sitting in the present tense. Remember with this one, simple tense, you use the word write. The progressive tense, you use the helping verb plus the word writing. The perfect tense, you use the helping verb plus written, your past participle. And then the simple past, you use the word wrote, which is your simple past. The simple past and the perfect past are different verbs in this one. Simple past, perfect past are different verbs. Okay, that's it for this lesson. We will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching.